Good evening, good evening, good evening, and a very warm welcome here to Pool Christian Spiritualist Church weekly Lyceum. Uh, this evening we will be talking about, and hopefully you will join us, talking about predictions or mediumship, and it is a little chat about when are we doing what and do we know what we're doing. In the absence of Lawrence, he's busy in the church this evening. I'll be your host this evening, and I'm Jack Eckhart. And with me tonight, I have lovely Jennifer Phllips from Scotland and Lola Kiss from Denmark. So, uh, a very warm welcome to you, ladies, and thank you so much for joining us here. So, and I believe people can hear us out there. If they can't, please let us know, but it should work, I hope. So, ladies, a short version, who are you?
After you, Lola. I'll let you go first.
Well, who am I? I'm a Danish medium. I'm a spiritualist. Yeah, that's it. That's who I am. No, yeah, and I am helping out in Danish Spiritualist Association a lot as a medium, as a assistant in and teaching, and yeah, and I do like to study spiritualism to bring it to Denmark as well. So I think that's me.
That's wonderful. Hi everyone, my name is Jennider Phllips and I'm a Scottish, well, unless you can't tell, I'm a Scottish medium and I live in Scotland. I've been working professionally as a medium for about 20 years now. Love my work and I love things like this. We were just chatting about the education within spiritualism. So I feel education is very important. I feel it's very important to help each other and guide each other. Yeah, I teach also. I do have classes that I take, and I just love this journey, and I love the people in it. So yeah, hopefully we'll have a good night.
I'm sure we will, and it's a pleasure to be in the company of two chatty ladies because I know you both have a lot of words to share. So,
Yeah.
And that's really lovely, isn't it? Because it is this evening is about words and very much about what kind of words are we putting out there when we are working as mediums. So, just briefly, Jennifer, can I start ask you when we're putting this subject on top of this evening, predictions or mediumship? What are your thoughts about that?
So predictions within your mediumship, I think you have to be very careful with them. I think you have to be very. I think you have to choose your words very carefully. Anyone that I'm mentoring, Jack, Lola, anyone I'm mentoring, I always do a short part of the mentoring about either the philosophy, but not just the philosophy. I get them to even read a children's book, and then I get them to speak to me and put into their own words how they can describe that book. And it's the same with mediumship. We can only use the grammar that we have. We can only use the knowledge that we have. But through training and discipline, we should be able to bring that across, bring the message across the best way to the recipient. Now, there are mediums out there who will say, I'm not going to say inappropriate things, but they'll maybe say things to shock. And when they think by getting that shock factor that people are going, wow, how did she know that? But within your education and within your journey, you should learn that it's not the shock factor you want the wow with. It's the beautiful way that you bring that evidence across is where the wow is. That's where the special moment is. And too many people think that they have to, say something that's shocking to do that. So for me, it's all about using your words carefully. It's about taking the time to, people that we read for, most of them are so vulnerable. And if you are a good medium and you've trained well and you're compassionate to others and you're in this movement for the right reasons, then you should just take your time to bring forward that evidence. There is a responsibility with it. There is no doubt about that. There's a huge responsibility with it. And again, one of our principles is personal responsibility. So for me, it's always about just taking that time. It's about not just thinking it's me and I'm going to get all this attention from giving a wow factor reading. It's about how I bring it across to that person. I think it's really, really important. And I think within my training, the lady I sat in circle with, she used to give us exercises, and I do it with my groups. I will say to them, there's a word. How are you going to describe that to me? And everyone will describe it differently. But and that's important. And you need to learn how to use your words in a beautiful, compassionate, and loving way. That's the long and short for me.
Yes, and thank you, Jennifer. And Lola, your thoughts on the subjects?
Oh, I totally agree. It is, we are dealing with very vulnerable people. So we have to really take care of our words and how we are saying things. And I do see mediums, as Jennifer said, this, oh, go see a doctor because this is and people get very, very scared, well, when you I've only been doing mediumship in 8 years now. And I've been sitting in a lot of circles, so I've heard a lot of things. And and it's just, every time I wonder, how can you do this? If I wasn't, if I didn't have thick skin, or I would get so scared, and I do think, well, yes, we have to really take care our words and how we, I don't know, not predicting, because that's not what it is, but how we are using our words, because we can really do some very, very harmful things, and we really have to mind of that, definitely. And also,
I think
again,
with
I
the
would say,
predictions, sorry, I'm interrupting you. The prediction, I forgot to say with predictions as well. Predictions it's not, you obviously we try and strive for that proof and truth. So we're giving that evidence that the recipient can relate to, and they can say, yes, I understand that, or I will go and find out. But when you're predicting something, that is something that's yet to come. So therefore, there's a huge responsibility within that space,
yes.
And sometimes that prediction can also be, and I've been in that position where it's actually a pressure for the medium as well, because they may be really feeling, oh, I could predict this could really happen. And the space between the time of it happening, you know what, the person could take another path.
Yes,
Definitely. They could choose, because they have their own free will. But there's a huge responsibility within predictions, really.
Yes.
And you need to choose very carefully how you bring that across.
Yes, you can bring a lot of fear into people without thinking, just, it is very,
absolutely.
Yeah, I really do think that I think that must be a bigger part in education in mediumship, this responsibility, first of all, learning mediumship, of course, but also along the road, how important it is with the I lost my word. Whoopsie.
Discipline,
Yes.
maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know.
And also how, that you don't predict that ethics, and you really do have to learn that along the way as well.
Yeah.
Because and I also see, my daughter has showed me TikTok, and when you swipe, you can see all oh my God, please stop, and you can say people are just, oh yes, tell me, oh, I have a mother or whatever, and they are just, I don't know, I get so pissed, get a bit
Yeah,
angry.
me too.
Because
Me too.
it's a very nice craft to learn, it's a very and I think they just let it fall on the floor.
Absolutely. Totally
I hope
agree.
you understand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're sorry you asked now, Jack.
Yes. Hey, I said it was a pleasure to be with two gentle ladies, so I'll take the challenge. We just before we went live, and you got a little bit into it here. We talked about the online universe that have been growing during the lockdown and things, but we can get a little bit back to that. But before that, we have a few people coming in and saying good evening. We have Gail here. Good evening, everyone. We have
Hi, good evening, Gail.
Marion
Good evening,
Frisbee. Good evening. And we have Sam Natalie says good evening. And we have this little lovely nice guy, Steve Trolland. Good evening.
Long time no see, he says.
Yes. Yes, and Julie
Oh,
Caswell says good evening,
hi,
and
Julie. Oh,
Lee Chu Del
good evening,
not
Lee.
sure if just saying Lee. That part I can pronounce properly right, I think. And then we have just Marion Frisbee saying possibilities.
Possibilities.
Yes,
Oh, I love possibilities.
yes,
Love
definitely.
that.
Uh,
Yes.
And I believe what Marion is talking about with possibilities is about predictions. We can talk about possibilities in the future, and sometimes I come from spirit and talk about that as well.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
believe we don't know, spirit don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. There's possibilities for a lot of different things. You were
Absolutely.
talking a little bit about this. The personal responsibility, our free will, and things like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have this great responsibility as mediums, as psychics. I usually say, I don't care if people are doing psychic or they're doing mediumship, just be good at what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
but what we sadly see a lot, you talked about it, it's the things are becoming a little blurry. Now we're from Denmark, you're from Scotland. We have different histories.
Yeah.
Within our countries, where in Scotland and England, spiritualism has been a religion for more than 100 years. In Denmark, it's fairly new. Spiritism used to be in Denmark, but it all fall apart many years ago. So the psychic have been the dominating things for 50 odd years or something. And within the last 20 years, I would say, mediumship has become more in, and spiritualism. We're trying to promote spiritualism in Denmark more and more. But it's a hard work, because everybody in Denmark is like, oh, psychic and mediumship, that's basically the same.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and it's not.
So why is it not the same, ladies?
Lola, do you want to go first this time? She's muted herself. Why is it not the same? Something psychic for me. I use my psychic skills and combine it with my mediumship, because the way I see it is God gave us this psychic ability. So I'm not shy with my psychic ability, but I always tell my students, Do not say to someone you're getting such and such when you get from psychic and pretend it's mediumship. Just say, I'm picking this up psychically from you. Don't be afraid to say it. Be proud of it. You know, if you have some people, everyone's got psychic abilities, but not everyone can be a medium. Okay, that's my view. Okay, the mediumship again is something that some of us are absolutely blessed and can connect with straight away. There's a difference between speaking about your psychic abilities, and the mediumship is entering, as we said earlier, Lola, you were talking about working with spirit and the essence, and working with someone from another dimension, someone that's not physically here. You know, whereas psychic's right in front of you. You can, you can feel it, taste it, smell it. You can, but we, with the mediumship, we are entering into this beautiful, sacred space that we take our minds to, we take ourselves to there, and the spirit world comes and joins us halfway, and they blend together with us. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. That is a wonderful thing. And yes, it does take practice, because so many people will maybe get a connection, but they don't have, a really strong connection. And again, I believe personally myself that when you dedicate yourself to become a medium, I do believe you need to work in yourself first. I do believe you need to know where you are spiritually. That's my belief, is that once you find out where you are spiritually, you're kind of halfway there. And you have this belief. You believe in the spirit world, so you're halfway there already. But being able to shift your consciousness into that space is the thing that takes practice. That's the thing that takes the discipline and the practice and the belief. For me, I suppose it came quite naturally to me. And I'm sure, like a lot of mediums, they would rather be there sometimes. We would rather just sit in that energy all the time, because it's just the most awesome thing. But for me, discipline of sitting in the power, that's what I try and teach my students first. Sit in the power, sit in your own power, sit with whoever you perceive to be God or the universe. For me, it's just a source of love, and get to know your own self. Then ask the spirit world to come and blend with you. Get to that special place. Whereas psychic is, don't get me wrong, it's a wonderful ability to have. Yeah, we can pick up the past, present, future within that. We can sense things. So yeah, use all of these senses, combine everything, and make yourself a good messenger of God. That's what I say. Combine it all, but don't pass off a psychic message to be a mediumship one, or vice versa. Just be truthful. Be truthful. I'm absolutely picking that up psychically, and I'm not ashamed to say it. But by God, if I give you evidence about your grandma that's good, then give me praise for that too.
Yeah, like we saw you yesterday with Stephen, and I was one of the lucky ones who get a message. But
you nearly never.
Anyway, I was very well, but I was very much I knew when you were on my grandmother's link, and I knew when you came in psychic, and I wasn't confused at all, and I thought, well, that was good, because when I always say, when I pass over and my daughter go to a medium, and the medium is telling, well, I do have a lady here, she's not speaking very much, so I'm going to tell you. And I would say, what are you talking about?
Exactly.
And your mother here is telling you your chakra isn't something I would never say. But,
yes.
And I would be so angry. So we have to think, well, we do have your grandmother here, and stick to that.
Because stick to the essence.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Just embrace and you just
and
then you okay. but I see this as well. I see this as well in you.
Yeah.
I see possibilities.
Yeah.
And I know your
Yeah.
grandmother would say, she would probably say that you could do anything, but
Yeah.
something like that. But yeah.
Yeah.
So
Unfortunately, I think also now the people, when I suppose it's their perception of a message, Lola, as well, is that they when I know some, for instance, especially when I'm doing a private one-to-one reading, and I'm building up the evidence, because I'm saying I'm a spiritual medium. So when I'm doing a private reading, I'll say I'm a spiritual medium. That is the basis of what I do. That
yes.
every time I work, I'm working with spirit. That's it. End of.
Yeah.
But what I found over the years is that people, they like cards, for instance, right? So I do know tarot. I don't follow the rules of tarot, so I use them intuitively, and also what I get psychically. So what I found over the years is people like a little combination of that when they're having readings, and I found a lot of people, when I'm building up the evidence, I have your grandma here now, and you start to give the evidence, I can psychically feel their energy going, like, just hurry up and get to the messages.
Yes,
They just
exactly.
want to know what's going to happen in their life.
Yes.
They don't, and that's the difference between doing maybe a divine church service, where you're able to sit in that presence of spirit for just that bit longer. There should always be a message, obviously. But for me, it's building up that character, building up the evidence, and expanding that. So oh wow, she has got my grandma with her. But I do find that through time that just some people are just like, just hurry up, cut to the chase. They won't, and that's unfortunate because it's unfortunate because, as we full well know, and our dear friend Stevie is a prime example of how he goes so deep into the person's energy. Stevie becomes, he becomes them, and he gets so deep into the beautiful presence of them and feeling their soul and everything else. And and it's a wonderful place to be, but I do find that people's maybe perception of a reading can be, it's just like, no, just hurry up with that stuff. Hurry up and get to, I want to know the real stuff. When am I going to be a millionaire? When am I going to? Is my boyfriend cheating on me or something? So, yeah.
Oh yes,
it's a bit of both. A bit of both. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And and I get so frustrated. I really get so frustrated.
Me too.
You have I did a platform with her mother in spirit, and she was, it's amazing. So can I now come to you, and because I have this job changing, and what would my mother say about that? I said, well, no matter what your mother is saying, you're really going to sort it out. Do you want the job or not? Is that important for you? And do you see possibilities in that? Do you want to evolve or not? Or do you like where
exactly.
you are?
Well, there's another subject. There's another question as well. The people that say to me constantly, "Oh, Spirit says I should do that, and Spirit told me to do that," and that really riles me. And I'll say, "Oh, wait a minute. Who's living here? Who's here?"
Mm-hmm.
It's like Spirit, yes, they may help guide you to that, but you have your own personal responsibility. You are the one that's living here. You're the one that needs to make, as you say, make those choices. Yeah. Don't put that on Spirit. Definitely. And mediums that do that are, I'm going to say in my opinion, are wrong. They're wrong in telling people. They say, this again, we'll go back to how we word things, Jack, you can suggest, you can say, maybe this would be a good path for you, but you have to, as you just said, Lola, they have to choose themselves. But it really riles me when they said, "Oh, Spirit said." Sorry?
we're taking something from them.
Yeah.
Because it's called living, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yourself
Absolutely.
and try to find out what am I going right or left, or
Yeah, exactly. And all of that is what makes us, again, better mediums, because if we were told, oh, this is the correct way, you're not going to make any mistakes if you go on that road. Now, I think we could all agree that the mistakes that we have made in our lives have probably defined us better as a person. Those life experiences have made us either better spiritual. I know for me, spiritually and compassionately. So we have to make mistakes, but your feet need to be firmly on the ground. As I say, be very hug Mother Earth, just grip her, love this earth. But that doesn't mean to say that your higher self can't be connected to your higher source. We can do both. We can do both. Yeah. Please join with your questions and comments. I just saw that there. So I
Yes.
I've never been on before, so I just thought.
Oh yeah. They have the opportunity to text or write without waiting for somebody to stop talking. So
Sorry.
no, don't be. I'm just joking here. We have a comment here. Julie Caswell. I agree mediums are wrong when they say spirits said, really annoys me.
Yeah. Me too, Julie.
And I have to admit it annoys me as well. Because who is spirit?
Yeah, exactly.
And one thing is when people are talking about, spirit telling me I should do so and so. But another thing is when mediums are saying spirit says to you.
Yeah.
But anybody can say that. Where's the evidence? And as you talked about the building of the personality from that person, that loved one from spirit that comes forward. I'm sure Lola mentioned when she's coming back from spirit one day, hopefully in many years. If that medium is putting on predictions or something that is really not Lola, I wouldn't be that medium, I can tell you.
Yeah, I know.
But I think
she'll haunt them.
Definitely. But I think we have to acknowledge as well that if moms come from spirit, she will have an opinion of your change of job or choice of man or whatever it is. But it should be an expression of who is mom.
Yeah.
Sometimes we both have mom and dad, and I'm sure they would not always agree.
Yes, exactly.
I would say, go with that job, and dad would say, no, don't do that. That's shitty job.
Yeah, exactly. And something, my brother's in spirit, and I love and adore him. He's been in spirit a long time now. And when my brother was here, there is absolutely no way that I would have took advice from him. No way. He was a jack the lad. He was, he was a cool guy, but he wasn't very knowledgeable. And then he had mental health problems. That's how he passed. So I would never have taken advice from him, ever, ever, ever. Right now that he's in spirit, and he has been for a long time, I trust what he brings forward to me, because I know it's his higher self that's speaking. Okay, so I trust what he brings forward to me, but I still make up my own mind as to what way I'm going to do it. I'll get this impression of what he's saying to me. And I'll respect that now. I think, okay, this is his higher self speaking. But if he was to come forward through a medium the way he was when he was here, I'd get on your bike. No chance of I listening to that. No. I adore you, but no.
Well, it's like I had an ex-mother-in-law, sorry, and she's like, oh, don't do that, you will get burned, or no, you will fall. And no, she was very, if she come through the other side, I would think, oh my God, we are all going to die eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very. So that would be an
So yeah,
expression of her, So.
yeah,
And we have to remember when we leave this physical world, we will leave all the physical things and the mental things,
yeah.
but God, the mental things is a part of physical. But when we're coming back from spirit, we have to present ourselves as we were known.
Yes, correct.
So that means if old nasty Uncle Peter comes through that have been beating up his entire family and been presented, oh, I have such a lovely gentleman here.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody would understand who are you,
Yeah.
So we have to
give that sense of
that as a part of the evidence. That doesn't mean that the message from him needs to be nasty, because he will have a different view on life from where he is now.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally agree there. Absolutely agree.
Yeah. We have Juliet's with a comment here. During a demonstration, I often see mediums working both psychic and mediumship. Therefore, do you think that mediums need to work with either psychic or mediumship when demonstrating?
Lola?
Well, we had this debate often here in our house. In divine service, you stick to your mediumship. That's very, very much important, because it's one of the corners of proof we can give what we do believe in. So I think psychic has to be, whatever you do in a demonstration, that's yours. And again, I do think, like we saw yesterday with that wonderful lady we were watching, she did both things. but then again, she, as I said, I just knew when you were with my grandmother and when you were psychic on me, and I think. But in divine service in churches, I think in spiritualist churches, I do think it's very important to stay in your mediumship.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Divine service, absolutely. You're in a spiritual church, so therefore you should be working with spirit all the time. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes that wee psychic thing can pop its head in there. And again, for me, I probably would give it off if I'm truthful. If it popped in, I would give it off. But again, I would say, you know what, I was just picking this up psychically from you, and I would give it, but I would be right back in my power, right back to working with spirit. I think it's important, if you're developing, that you practice just mediumship readings, just psychic readings, and where you can see and feel the difference of working with both. Now, where I'm at just now, it kind of just kind of all blends in together with me now, because I've been doing it for so long, But I know that if I sit with my group, and so say I was on a mentorship with my group, I'd be saying, right, this is just mediumship. This is what do not be picking up the psychic stuff. Do not be working with this. And I get them to practice in and out of their blending with spirit, so that they feel the difference. Okay, here I'm sitting in my own energy, right? Ask spirit to come forward, and you feel the spirit world coming forward, and you know that you are working with spirit. And I personally think, Juliet, that it's very, very important to keep doing that. Take yourself out and say, right, I'm just working mediumship today. Blend with the spirit world, work with just the spirit world, and then do other ones. Okay, I'll work psychically today and feel the difference, because there is a different energy. There's a different, the difference between blending with spirit and just being in the psychic energy is completely different, and you should learn over the years of your development. You should learn to feel the difference between both. That's my personal view. As I say, where I'm at now, I can kind of combine both, and I'm just like, okay, that's coming. I'm just giving that. But certainly divine services are right there in that power, and I don't want to go anywhere else. That's it.
But it take a strong medium to do both and show both and know the difference. But yeah, as I said, in divine services, stick to
yeah, exactly. I just want to sit in that power with spirit. I just want to be there and not move. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah,
and I can only agree with you, ladies. Definitely, and a divine service should only be mediumship, because that's a part of the religion. It's part of the belief system, and that one of the big piles within the spiritualism is the mediumship. Another big pile is the philosophy, and these two piles need to be in balance in a divine service. That's where we worship God. That's where we worship spirit.
Absolutely.
So definitely, people are doing demonstration where they do both. I don't have a problem with it, as long as it's clear when are you doing what.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think sometimes I have seen several times and been watching demonstrations and services for that sake around UK during the years, and remember once I was at church with an English friend of mine, and she had a message from her auntie, and afterwards I asked her, "Oh, so did you like your message?" "Oh yeah, I could understand everything that was said." "Okay," I said. "So what was the evidence for your auntie?" "Oh, she told me, but everything she said about me made sense." "Yes," I said, "but where was the evidence about your auntie?" And she was like, "There was none."
Yeah.
But everything that was said about her
was true.
was true.
Yeah.
But the so-called medium had none contact with her aunt.
With her aunt. Yeah. It happens a
So
lot.
it does, and it's like, and that's a friend that actually are developing her own mediumship. That was falling into that trap, and it's easy if you don't have your mind on it. But I think it's important to address it and to highlight it, like on an evening like this, where we actually are having it a bit on a subject that look for that evidence. Sometimes it's little, sometimes it's very factual, sometimes it's emotional evidence, sometimes, but there should be one form. Sometimes it's memory, but that should be exactly built of that personality, of character, of that loved one from spirit.
For me, I love that part. I love the part where it starts to build up, like feeling your grandmother last night, Lola. I love that. I just love how we were completely different natures, your grandmother and I. And when I felt her presence coming forward, for me, it's like, wow, I'm getting to know you, and that's literally what it is. I'm getting to know her. And for me as a medium, that's a privilege. It's a privilege because I'm getting to feel the essence and the energy from another source and another person. It's like sitting in a room with new friends, and you want to know everything about them. And that, to me, I love that blending. I love when that comes forward. And for me, even when I get readings, the recipient should feel, oh, wow, I remember that about her. Oh, wow. Yeah, she used to look like that, and then they start to get this picture in their face. They start to feel, oh wow, remember when she cuddled me? Oh, I remember my grandfather's big hands; they were so strong, or and that's what we should be doing. We should be making them go back in time, to when we knew them. That's the important part. That's for me. It's just it's a wonderful thing. It's beautiful.
I had a time where I was, struggling. I thought, well, I'm really going to do this. I do think we all have these periods where we think, oh God. But the thought of, I tried to turn my head around and said, who am I going to be with today? Who is coming to me?
How exciting!
Yes, exactly. So what am I going to learn today? Yeah. So,
That's it.
that helped
And
me.
people's presence that we're in. For instance, I have felt, some very, very special people in my presence that I would never have been able to sit in the same room with. I would never, our paths would never have crossed. Never ever have crossed. And yet, I've had the privilege of actually feeling their energy blend with me. And that's like, wow. Like Albert Best, for instance, right? He was one of our. I did not. I was maybe just a little bit too young to have the privilege of sitting with Albert. But obviously, he's a huge pioneer and a hero of mine. But I remember once he came through for a message for someone, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm feeling it. And I was. I knew it was him, but then I was hesitant to say, "Oh, I have Albert Best with me," And the person that the message was for was good friends with him.
Yeah.
She was very good friends with him, and they actually sat in circle for a bit. I did not know that, and she said to me, "You absolutely had him. You had him in your hands. You had him in your lap. And for me to come away and think, wow, I know how you felt. I've read about you. I've heard people tell stories about you, but I've actually felt your energy now. I felt your soul. And that is, to me, it's like, so we will encounter people that we would never maybe have the privilege of actually meeting. That's a great thing.
I've sitting with Glenn Edwards a couple of times, and
Danish
medium as well. He passed a very well-known Danish medium in Denmark, and it's so wonderful. And also, it's wonderful to just meet the grandmother who was very poor and very strict, and but still keeping her spirit high, or the jazz musicians and
exactly.
It's so lovely. You just I'm so lucky.
If you surrender yourself, to be open to receiving from that, the things that you can witness is just it's amazing. It really is.
Sometimes it's like being a child again. Just tell me more. Tell me how did you do that?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's very nice.
And it is a kind of a magical moment each time where you are in the middle of that connection between the two worlds, isn't it? And I was just thinking, going back to a question or a comment here about doing psychic and mediumship in the same demonstration. We have on occasion been doing demonstrations on the difference between the two. So where we start to have a little talk about what is psychic, what is mediumship, and then we go into demonstration. Say, okay, now we're doing a psychic demonstration.
And sometimes
so okay, and now we're doing a mediumistic. So people can hear the difference because the way. The way we deliver, the way the flow and the energy is so different. And everybody in the room can usually feel that difference.
I agree. I quite like working like that, actually, especially with people who are very nervous. If people are very nervous about working with spirit, and they feel the pressure, I'll say, okay, come on, have a wee look at them. You know, what are you picking up? And then I'll say, right, come on, now ask the spirit world to come a bit closer. How are you feeling now? And you just bring, it's like kind of taking that baby step, nudging them into it. That could be a good way of working too. Yeah.
But I think sometimes we should remember, I know, Jennifer, you are teaching as well. Sometimes the focus is much, we need to teach the students so, and we need to teach the students so. But sometimes we forget to teach our recipients the congregations as well. So have the understanding of the work that has actually been done for spirit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The education needs to be with both, because people need to be, they need to have the discipline to be able to receive the message, you know.
Yeah.
And not just say yes to everything. You know, to be able to say, actually, I don't understand that, and let the medium go back and get a bit more. And also, not be, and I'm going to use the word ignorant, ignorant that you know, maybe as you said, like a poor grandmother comes forward, and they maybe not want to, oh God, they were maybe embarrassed by or whatever, but they need to be open to receiving from everyone from the spirit world.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I do like I just like you know, poor people or alcoholic. My father was an alcoholic, so you know, just you know why and how and people, as you said, could be very, oh, I don't want to hear from that. I don't want to hear from that.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's very, but that's how they work.
Yeah, and it's also the responsibility of us is, again, we'll go back to the very beginning of what we spoke about, is where you have that responsibility to bring that alcoholic through, but to do it in a gentle, compassionate way that is not going to hurt the recipient, you know, but also we are the voice, we are that voice, we are the mediators between those two worlds, between those two people. We are that mediation, we are the mediums that bring that forward. So therefore, we hopefully are able to still work with that, and hopefully the recipient is able to accept that.
Sometimes, you know, I know when I call them a wild card. So when I work on a service, or I know it's a wild card here, I do have a man who was alcoholic, and I know, please.
It's we can, you know, it's not all the love and light, you know. I've read for people who, you know, maybe like one lady, her father abused her, and her father came through, you know. And again, when we get this sense of it, you know, I just very gently, you know, say, I do have your father, but I'm sensing that he's standing back and he's asking permission. Is it okay if he comes forward? Would you be accepting of a message from him? And that's, again, that's where we go right back to what we were started with, is those predictions and that discipline and everything, where we need to be able to, and if that person's not ready,
or if you are, as a medium, is not ready, because I would say, for me, it's I would be how to cope with that, and you know, not that I have anything with that, but and said, okay, your father is here, and he's bringing his mother here as well, or somebody else.
So you would use
definitely I would.
It's funny you should say that, Lola, because when my dad died, he'd be 3 years in June, and you know, I loved him, he loved me, but we were not kissy cuddly close. My father was a very, very frustrated, angry man when I was growing up, and he was violent and he did drink a lot, but I never held it against him. I chose not to, because that's my responsibility, you know. So when he passed, we had a fine relationship when he passed, and he was a very sick man. The first time that I felt him in spirit coming forward, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Oh, because, you know, like you guys, I just work with pure love, and it's that love that drives me. It's that, oh, that feeling, you know what it's like. It's undescribable. And when I felt my dad's presence coming in, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I don't know if I'm ready to work with you. I don't know if I'm ready to let you into my, you know, my sacred space here, Dad, you know. And yes, he's obviously moving on to the spirit world. His higher self knows better now and everything else. But I was not ready to let him into that space. And it's taken me a bit. And I absolutely can honestly say I don't hold anything against the man. I don't at all. In fact, I wish him well. I just hope that he's happy. But in the same hand, it's like, no, this is my thing, you know. And it's taken me a while. Now I accept him. Now when he comes forward, I accept him fully. My brother kept pushing him in. He's like, oh, come on, speak to Dad, you know. But yeah, it's funny you should say that. So yes, it's taken me time to accept him to come forward, and the trust that I think a lot of it's trust as well.
Yes, it is.
You know,
and
the trust.
Also the dare to, I think there can be a huge amount of healing, you know, on both sides.
Absolutely. Totally.
Because, you know, I was not raised, I was not living with my father because he chose that way of living. And he always said that, I'm sorry, it just ate me up. I just choose that way, and I couldn't come back. So, and I was living with my grandparents, but when he comes, he's always ensuring me of he loves me, and you know, and I said to him, please don't say I'm sorry, because you said that when you were alive, so please don't come and say that. And I think it's very, very much important that, and Jack is going to have a talk about the healing, the mediumship and the healing, and I think within the mediumship. And I think if we allow, I do have a sister as well in spirit. I don't want to hear about, not yet. I'm not. What do you
You're
call
not
it?
there yet.
I'm not an angel at all. I do have a very, very horrible sister who did many, many horrible things in her life, with the whole family. But eventually, when I'm ready for it,
you will. I would totally agree.
So
totally agree with you there. Absolutely.
And I know there will be, when I let go, and when I let my the wall down, there could be a lot of healing to.
Because many people have this myth. They think, oh, we're spiritualists, that we're angels, and we're not. We're actually living a physical human existence. So therefore we have all these emotions, we have all these things that are attached to the human body and the mind and everything. And I totally agree. That space, that place will always be offered to us for the healing, because with the healing there is growth. There is growth.
Exactly.
Because to be able to forgive is one of the most wonderful things we can do to ourselves. And it's nothing to do with anyone else. It's within us. And when we get to that point, and I do agree with you 100%, you need to get to that point where you're ready to accept that forgiveness, or where you're ready to move on. And that may take 5 minutes, it might take 5 years, it may take 50 years. But it's something that you work on in a personal level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think you can force it. Then it would never be.
No.
From the heart. No.
Yes. And often we hear people talk about, oh, it takes 3 months, 6 months, 9 months before spirits are ready to come. I believe it's about when we are ready to accept their coming. And my experience is sometimes we can be in our minds mentally ready to, oh, I want to hear from, but emotionally we are not.
That's correct. That's true.
So having that contact at that moment will devastate us. So, and they know that from spirit, so they will help back but I usually say sometimes, yeah, then sometimes somebody else come forward first to lead the
Yeah.
way.
Yes. Yes.
That way, and seen it with especially when if I'm I normally say I don't work with kids or small kids. I do, but I do it different. So if a 2-year-old comes to have contact with their mom or dad or whoever, I would always say, I'm not giving you a voice, but let me know who are with you.
Who's with? Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So I have
Okay.
grandma here. So yeah, you understand grandma.
Yeah.
Okay. And grandma is talking about this 2-year-old girl.
Right. Okay. So that was your way around it. Yeah.
So
I get that.
yeah, and I mean, talking about the healing, the parents is not ready to have that direct contact with their little child,
That's
but
true.
it brings a comfort that knowing our child is
They're
safe with
with
grandma.
grandmother. Yeah. I totally agree. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
So
And
so
again,
there's
Absolutely.
different ways around it.
Yeah.
And like you
It's
said,
true.
with your dad, okay, somebody else maybe comes and bring that with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Uh,
Exactly. I'll let him come on his own
so,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I believe
Yeah.
sometimes it's not sometimes, but it's again our responsibility as mediums
Mm-hmm.
how we present the information from spirit, how we deliver
Yeah.
it. So we will not deliver it in a way or present it in a way that will embarrass the recipient, or we shouldn't do.
Absolutely.
It happens.
Definitely not.
I've
Yeah.
seen it happen, but we shouldn't. We should be conscious of what kind of words we are using and things. Sometimes it has to be
Yeah.
said quite directly, as spirit
Yeah.
comes with it. But sometimes we need to
Yeah.
make it a bit more fluffy, but that has
Yeah.
having that sense of the recipient as well,
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
because
It
it
was like
is a,
last night. I was trying not to say about your baldy head, and eventually I had to say this man would be baldy. I just had to say it. But it's again my initial thing would just be again. You just try, and it's not a case of you're fluffing up the or you're sweeping it under the carpet. It's just about thinking about it before you say it.
yeah.
yes.
Is that
Think about it.
appropriated? Is that
But
okay to
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Jennifer,
And I think.
it wasn't a prediction about me being bald.
I know. I should have just said it. But it's again, you don't know if that would offend people, or so
Exactly.
therefore it's again that's
Yeah.
I think that's just being a decent person. When you're a
Yes,
decent person who thinks of others, if you're that
exactly.
type of person in general, then you're going to be fine. You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, ladies, we are starting to getting close to an end. Any final comments before we round up?
Oh,
No,
I don't.
it has been a
I
wonderful
would just
meeting.
like to say that whoever's on and between you guys, I just feel, and I know it sounds corny, but I do feel truly blessed to have given this gift and to be part of this movement. And I do feel a sense of responsibility towards how it's going to move in the future,
Yes.
And I think that anyone who's listening who is on this journey, that we can just take that responsibility, but helping others as well. But bringing the modern day spiritualism even more modern, bringing it into the future, but still doing it with respect. There's the clock again. It's time. But I do feel that we still need to. I do feel we need to change certain things, but I also feel there's so much tradition we need to keep. But again, it's just about finding that lovely balance and being respectful of this wonderful movement. Yeah. And Mary and saying we're all teachers and students of life. Some offer us not likable questions. That's true. I feel it's up to us to cultivate love and forgiveness. That is growth, and it sure is. maybe even thank them for the lesson. I absolutely do all the time, Marion. Good, bad, or ugly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
You have a final comment, Lola?
No, it's just I'm just it's so nice to doing this again and talking to Jennifer. It's lovely.
Yeah.
And it's
Great.
So,
I think I've said what I.
it has been lovely, ladies, to have you on here this evening. I'm sure people out there have enjoyed it as well. Just before we finish off, there's a few notifications. Tomorrow in church and pool, there is the weekly divine service. Tomorrow it's with Carrie MacLeod and Phil Dykes, and I believe it will be streamed onto Facebook and YouTube as well. Monday there's healing evening at pool, and next Saturday there is the day trip, the bus trip to Stansted Hall to Open Day, and I believe there's still able seats on the code. So if you want to join there, just be in contact with the church or Lawrence, and you will have the details. And not to forget, in the back end of May, last weekend in May, there is the rally weekend in church. It's 4 days, 4 days with the sittings, demonstrations, workshops, and on the Sunday we have there's the entire rally day, starting with the service in the morning. There will be several speakers talking about different subjects during the day. So I'm sure there's still places there if you are nearby pool or want to travel. I believe it's worth to travel there. Anyway, so just go to the website or to Facebook to find the details there, or be in contact with the church and pool or Lonsaville. So with that, I will say thank you very much, ladies. It's been such a pleasure to have you on here. And thank you everybody there. I'm not sure about Lyceum next week. That will be announced. It might be me as host again, as Lawrence probably is tired coming back from a long trip on the coast. But anyway, see you later on, and just enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know how to switch this off.
We'll help you afterwards.